What was the best inning ever pitched? Was it Pedro Martinez's immaculate inning? Was it Max Scherzer's immaculate inning? Was it an immaculate inning at all? Was it a three-pitch inning? Was it that impossible inning Foolish Baseball talked about where Justin Verlander threw 102 miles per hour in the 8th inning? Was it that inning where Tippy Martinez picked off 3 runners in a single inning? That's a fun one. Was it a hypothetical inning that probably will never happen with 3 intentional walks and 3 pickoffs for 0 total pitches? No. The best inning ever pitched was an inning with 1 pitch and 3 strikeouts. You might think to yourself, how have I never heard of this? Well, this inning was pitched way back in 1946 by a legendary figure, and it was the best inning and best pitch ever. What game was it, and how is this possible? The game took place on February 2nd, 1946. The powerhouse Gashouse Gorillas took on, well, here's their opponent's lineup.
Catching, Bugs Bunny. Left field, Bugs Bunny. Right field, Bugs Bunny. Pitching, Bugs Bunny. Third base, Bugs Bunny. Center field, Bugs Bunny. First base, Bugs Bunny. Shortstop, Bugs Bunny. Second base, Bugs Bunny.
Before we talk about the legendary Bugs Bunny as a pitcher, let's just talk about him as an athlete. Whoa, look at that baseball reference page. As you can see, dude was the best baseball player of all time. A complete titan of the game for more than 40 years. He could play any position on the diamond, and his 28 MVP awards are a testament to that. He was an otherworldly athlete who destroyed the StatCast sprint speed leaderboard, and he was an excellent pitcher, but never won a Cy Young. He did, however, pitch the best inning of all time. Here it is.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Now, for some context. At first, I didn't know how I was going to make this video. The dimensions aren't as obvious as you might think. As we know, the distance from the home plate to the mound is 60 feet 6 inches. And the diameter of an MLB baseball is 73 millimeters. So I just need to see how long it takes him to get from his release to the plate, and we'll have the pitch velocity, right? But sadly, as you saw, the second and third batters were not standing next to the plate. So, for a minute there, I thought I might be at a dead end. But then I remembered something from the beginning of the episode.
And here we are, folks, at the famous Polo Grounds.
You hear that? Let's roll it again.
And here we are, folks, at the famous Polo Grounds.
They're playing in Polo Grounds, a defunct, iconic baseball stadium with probably the weirdest dimensions in the history of the sport. So, if we can find the dimensions of the park itself, and we can figure out where the third batter was. Here's an image. After putting this under the intense microscopic power of Microsoft Paint and counting pixels, I calculated that the spot where the third batter was here. That is 131 feet and 10 inches from where Bugs Bunny released the ball, and the pitch took 7.79 seconds to travel from his hand to that point. So that's 16 feet 11 inches per second divided by 5,280 feet in a mile is 0.0032 miles per second. Multiply that by 3,600 seconds in an hour, makes this an 11.53 mile per hour beauty. Using a formula I learned in physics class, and knowing that Bugs is throwing the ball perfectly horizontally, we can determine how fast the ball would have dropped in a vacuum. Here's the equation. We know that D is 0.713. An MLB baseball is about 73 millimeters in diameter, and the diameter of the ball is 75 pixels. Since, in this image, it is shown to be 694 pixels off the ground, in line with his foot. 73 divided by 75 times 694 is 675.5. 675.5 millimeters is roughly 2 feet 3 inches. This actually makes sense, since we know that Bugs is canonically 3 feet 3 inches tall and he's hunched over. There's really no need to work through the entire thing on video, because it's just simple algebra. Yeah, here's the end result. So, how is the ball remaining perfectly horizontal throughout the entire 7.97 second duration when it should be dropping in less than a half a second? The answer is backspin. You might think the pitch looks like a knuckleball. That's only because of the 24 FPS frame rate. It's actually spinning incredibly quickly. In calculating spin, something exists called the Magnus effect. This is a simplified explanation, but what you need to know is that when a ball is backspinning, the spin is in the opposite direction of the movement of the ball. Because of the Magnus effect and the backspin, the velocity at the bottom of the ball will increase, while the velocity on top of the ball will decrease. This causes the pitch to fight against the downward force of gravity. There's a cool video where a guy drops a basketball with backspin off of a dam, and they observe its weird movement. Anyway, back to the pitch itself. Since the pitch experiences no vertical drop, we know that the force pushing on the ball up due to the Magnus effect is equal to the force of gravity pushing it down. Force equals mass times acceleration. Mass is 5 ounces, or 0.142 kilograms, the approximate weight of a baseball. A, in this case, is acceleration due to gravity, 9.81 meters per second squared. If you multiply them, you get 1.39 kilogram meters per second squared, which are otherwise known as newtons. The Magnus effect is more than a little more complicated. Here's the equation. This certainly looks like a lot, but it really isn't so challenging. We already have all of the variables, except spin rate, of course. And please note that each number in this equation, and thus the final result, is kind of estimated. Let's just start from the top. Force, we know that, 1.39 newtons. Radius, that's just half the diameter, 0.0375 meters. P, that's air pressure, 1.225 kilograms per meter cubed. That is the air pressure at sea level. Polo Grounds was in New York, which is on an island, so it's pretty close to sea level. And V, that's velocity, 5.15 meters per second. We know that the pitch was 11.53 miles per hour, so it's just a simple conversion. And S is spin rate, which is what we're solving for. So now we divide the left side of the equation by the entire right side, except spin, since we're solving for spin, so we have to isolate it. If we do that, we get 73.2 rotations per second. However, MLB measures in rotations per minute, so multiply by 60. 4,392 rotations per minute. Again, this is rather approximated for the aforementioned reasons, as well as other things like the baseball not being a perfect sphere or cylinder because of the seams, and air is a fluid, and fluids just kind of suck for measurements in general. Anyway, let's give that a comparison. Trevor Bauer averaged 2,783 RPMs on his fastball in 2021, which is the greatest average in the StatCast era. Bugs Bunny dwarfed him on this 11.53 mile per hour pitch, and in the process, threw the greatest pitch ever. Bugs went on to have a cartoonish career. 780 WAR, 1,375 OPS, more home runs than Pete Rose had hits, a higher on base than Barry Bonds in 2004, 28 MVPs, 37 batting titles, and a unanimous Hall of Fame career. But, in his first game, he managed to throw the pitch that became the greatest inning of all time. The inning wasn't immaculate, the pitch wasn't fast, and yet it was perfect. That concludes the video. Thank you to my father, let's call him Mike, for helping me with the Magnus effect and spin rate math. I appreciate you, Mike. And thank you to Looney Tunes for making all of our childhoods just a little bit better.